Hey, this is Robert from DSP Plug. What about cost? What about getting the underpinnings of this whole idea and making it ready to go to the moon? Because ultimately, the moon is a pretty good start. And when you think about it, making a kind of rounded square tube that serves as both apartment buildings, hotels, what have you, and offices and what all along the rim. That's what it is. And beside it, there are electromagnetic trains that go all around the universe. Ultimately, that's a pretty simple idea. Now, do the cars aren't in the tube either? The cars can hover into one of the entrances, and then there are parking garages, as it were. It's a fairly simple idea, but on the moon, it's a little bit closer to home. And without a doubt, there is a lot of things, especially government infrastructure, that at times has been challenged and undermined. And none of the aims of those government projects have ever been military. And it would be a shame to lose all of them. So let's talk about how all of those things can start being built. Ultimately, we're going to need some kind of floating platform, and that floating platform will have to orbit around the Earth. And that floating platform will be like a junction. When I say a junction, it spins around the world freely, but there are adjacent elevators, as it were, that allow this to continue to move in orbit, but also allow people to get to the junction and then get to the rim. All that in just a minute. We like to make things hard on ourselves. We read comic books. We look at how we perceive things could be simplified. We think of platforms and jets underneath on all four corners. And I think to myself, that's not really the most plausible idea. The amount of gases and fine math to do that in the future, sure, is possible. But the problem is that it's the amount of gas, it's the weight of the gas, it's all of these things. And electromagnetic is good, but there's a lot of math going on. So it all starts with a box, a perfectly square box. And if it's perfectly square and sealed, then the electromagnetic math to bring it up and down is almost almost parochial. So why would you want to do it any other way? You just take the box, lift it up, because a box, because it's the same on all sides, there's a very limited amount of mass required. And that would allow electromagnetivity, even at single precision, to lift up to this platform. And that's ultimately what astronauts and things like UN people who are working to make something like this in the future could do. And that would make a lot of sense. Why would you need to use dual or triple or quad precision when you could make a simple instrument that uses electromagnetivity with stuff that we have today? It all starts with the box. And regardless of the youth and the enthusiasts loving technology in its form and function in some kind of artistic way, beyond that, there's the plausible. And the plausible is most definitely the box. This is Robert from DSP Plug explaining how we could undoubtedly figure out the junctions and exactly how they would function. Maybe we would need more than one junction. It is a simple matter, isn't it? When this is all worked out, we might not have highways for it right away, but the trains, oh yeah. And we could figure out something so that getting up there might be as simple as being on an escalator or something even like an elevator, an axis elevator. As long as we get the math for the box down, eventually we'll be able to do rectangles. Rectangles might stress the math a bit, especially in the way of weight distribution. You see, if you move around this box, if there are people who are quite heavy or objects, sometimes the physics of math can throw that off. And there is only one or two or three ways to be standing inside of that box to undo the math of it. So because something is square, electromagnetically, it's easier to predict the physics and the weight distribution. Otherwise, you need to take into account a much larger span at the base of the platform so that you can use the physics so as to figure out the tilt and the exact location. In my opinion, I think the tolerance would be something like 10,000 pounds, 9,000, 8,000 pounds for a box. This is Robert from DSP Plug. Bye bye.